All right, this is another roller coaster ride of a Browns season. We were down low after that Ravens lost. We beat the Ravens. We're back on there, almost half by half. We're riding on this roller coaster, getting ready for the Raiders. A nice little Saturday coming up here. Get to watch some Browns. But Mr. COVID has come into town. Lots of Browns. Baker out, Stefanski out. Offensive lineman, the Takk MicKinley monument is out. Oh man, we're still gonna have some people left, but Eric, let's go to you first here. I'm challenged here to be positive about this upcoming game, but how should we look at this weekend? It's still gonna happen.
Well, yeah, of course it's gonna happen because it's the Browns, but we'll get back to that on another date. Yeah, I mean, we got a skeleton crew, I guess, going against the Raiders. It's very apropos, but the Raiders are the Raiders are coming off 5 out of their last 6 games are defeats, including a throttling by the Chiefs last week. Derek Carr, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this year, averaging just above 300 yards per game, but he has not passed over 2 touchdowns in a single game all year. He's had 5 interceptions over his last 6 games in that losing kind of streak. So, he hasn't been great, but that's what we got to do is just turn him over. And I don't say just, but that is a blueprint to win the game is to turn over Derek Carr. A couple guys they need to focus on is Josh Jacobs. He hasn't had a tremendous amount of rushing yards this year, just under 500 at 496. He does have 7 touchdowns, so they get him in the red zone. He's likely going to be an option for their offense. And then their go-to wide receiver is Hunter Renfrow, who's got 877 yards, 5 touchdowns. It's going to be a big challenge for our secondary, especially with John Johnson and Troy Hill not being available and Greg Newsome likely not available. And if Darren Waller plays, I am shuddering about how bad they're going to defeat the Browns because they cannot cover a tight end if you just watch what Mark Andrews did last week or many years prior to that. But it goes without saying the team's going to have their hands full. Especially defensively. On the offensive side of the ball, I think there's going to be pretty much two camps, 2 options, and that's either going to turn around, hand it to Nick Chubb or Dearness Johnson. I'm going to assume that Kareem Hunt's not going to play. The other option is going to be short passing game to Harrison Bryant and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I guess, because they don't throw it to Hollywood Higgins. So those are going to be the 2 options, I think. I mean, maybe there will be something that, sparks something that they can make magically work for this offense. But when it comes down to trying to win the game, the Browns have 0 margin for error. 1 turnover might be enough. 1 turnover given away might be enough to, be the difference of a loss of this contest. And just by winning the turnover margin doesn't necessarily guarantee them a victory either. I would like to see what they did against Lamar Jackson in the defeat by turning him over 4 times, but the offense has got to.
Why you gotta bring that up, man?
But the offense actually has to do their part, which again is going to be a tall order. So, yep, we'll see what happens.
Njoku's going to be back, which is a positive. Myles Garrett's still in there. Nick Chubb in there. Drew, the big news, Baker is going to be out, but it's been a back and forth. Baker's been injured. People have wanted to, maybe give him a week. Let's see what Case Keenum can do. How do you think Case performs here against the Raiders?
Yeah, I think a lot of that, let's give Baker a rest. I think a lot of that was before the bye week because he was obviously hurt. But let's see. How do I think Case does against the Raiders? I think it is a really tall order that he's being asked to. I mean, he's got backups at left tackle, right guard, wide receiver 1. Anthony Schwartz isn't playing. I guess you call that wide receiver 3. No Nick Chubb.
Chubb's in.
Sorry. No Kareem Hunt. I don't know. I don't know how you can ask a backup quarterback to deal with all of that no head coach, lots of people missing on defense on top of it, right? Case Keenum is a professional. He is an NFL sort of caliber quarterback, right? I think he's one of the 30 best quarterbacks walking the planet, that are eligible to play in the NFL, right? I'm doing my best here. But I think it is a really tall order to ask him to go in there, find a way, somehow, some way to win this game. I guess one of the things, if you like, I'm looking at a positive, right? One of the things that might be a positive is a new play caller. I'm not of the opinion that Kevin Stefanski's been figured out. I think that's been more so on the quarterback and some of the personnel leaving some plays on the field. But when you have a brand new play caller, you might have some tendency breakers just sort of out of just because it's a different person. That person has different tendencies. These are two different people, right? So I'm hopeful that maybe they get a big gainer out of this thing somewhere. And if they can piece a couple of those together, maybe they can escape with like a 20-14 victory somehow, some way. That's your goal, I think.
I just feel bad for Stefanski. I think it was Tuesday, listened to an interview with him. He seemed fairly calm, feeling like he can navigate this. But then for him to even get the positive COVID test and then having the experience of last year, not being there for this Steelers playoff victory, the Browns did win without Stefanski as a notch in their belt there. Stefanski even talked about the Browns are trying to do it the right way. He's double vax, got the booster, still doesn't matter. I don't know. Is there any chance, you guys, we're not the health experts, but is there any chance the NFL makes a change here so that they either postpone the game or they change the rules? Drew, what do you think about the NFL stepping in with this situation?
No, the Cleveland Browns are not the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens would get this sort of treatment. They got it last year. They would get it again, especially with Lamar Jackson having some ankle issues from his previous game. The Baltimore Ravens get this game postponed, 100%. The Cleveland Browns, the other teams, the people whose owners are not best friends with the commissioner, they don't get that sort of treatment. It's just a matter of fact. You can look at the two situations and see where the favored children are and where the rest of the league is, right? So I'm not some huge conspiracy theorist on this. It's very obvious where this is. The other issue is that this is a primetime game. Now, the Ravens was as well. That was on Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving night, and that was Thursday night, and they moved that for them until, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. I think the NFL certainly should. They certainly ought to afford the Browns a similar type of a thing. We're not asking for the world. It should go from Saturday prime time to Monday prime time. You're still not losing the spot then, but I don't think it'll happen. I think the NFL, there's no college football of any kind on Saturday. They want full steam ahead. They want their ratings. They want their money. And this is not a golden sun type of a franchise, as we all know. So now they're going to make them play. They're not going to be any help coming, and we'll see how they do.
Eric, do you think anything changes as the year goes on here and as we move into the playoffs?
There has been some scuttlebutt on Twitter about potentially only having to test negative once after being vaccinated and not showing symptoms of COVID. That it kind of blurs the line of having a moral conscience, I guess, to say outside of a fever, you can kind of say, yeah, I'm fine. It's kind of just how you feel versus your word versus somebody else's. The fever's kind of, cut and dry. So, if they end up doing that, that could give the Browns more likely to get some of those 17 guys back.
They won't do that till after this week.
I was about to throw in the caveat is that the NFL moves at a glacier pace, and that's not at best case scenario. It's going to happen next week, but more likely it's going to happen next season or maybe heading into the playoffs. So I wouldn't pin my hopes on that one. So yeah, so it sounds like it's likely going to be 17, 18 guys not going. Maybe we'll get lucky and get one or two back, but tough sledding. What's new for the Browns and their fan base?
Well, we've got a fever, and the only prescription is a Browns Super Bowl. We'll see if the Browns stay on track this Saturday.